Is the American economy heading for recession? Let's make America Great Depression again. Let's see how this boomerang effect is shaping up. Donald Trump imposed tariffs on other countries with an aim of hurting them, but it is coming back to haunt him.
Mr. Secretary, can you guarantee the American people here and now that there will be no recession on President Trump's watch?
Well, Chris, you know that there are no guarantees. Like, who would have predicted COVID? Right? I can predict that we are putting in robust policies that will be durable. And could there be an adjustment? Because I tell you that this massive government spending that we'd had, that if that had kept going, we have to wean our country off of that. And on the other side, we are going to invigorate the private sector. I had a meeting with small bankers last week, and they are ready to start lending. Yeah. And I can tell you that Main Street is going to do well.
So what exactly do you mean when you say adjustment? Could that potentially lead to a recession?
There's no reason that it has to, but I can tell you that if we'd kept on this track, what I could guarantee is we would have had a financial crisis. I've studied it, I've taught it, and if we had kept up at these spending levels, that everything was unsustainable. So we are resetting and we are putting things on a sustainable path.
At the end of the first quarter, the U.S. economy contracted, it shrank. The gross domestic product shrunk by 0.3. What is causing all this? Trump's trade wars, as we all know, this is an open secret. He has been imposing tariff, he's even proud of it. But let's remind ourselves that there is no economy that has ever grown in the entire history by tariffs. Mr. Trump might be somewhat delusional if he thinks that he's going to grow his economy by imposing tariffs on other countries and bring back jobs to the United States.
Now, that message of free trade is one I conveyed to Canada's leaders a few weeks ago, and it was warmly received there. Indeed, throughout the world, there's a growing realization that the way to prosperity for all nations is rejecting protectionist legislation and promoting fair and free competition. Now, there are sound historical reasons for this. For those of us who lived through the Great Depression, the memory of the suffering it caused is deep and searing. And today, many economic analysts and historians argue that high tariff legislation passed back in that period, called the Smoot-Hawley Tariff, greatly deepened the Depression and prevented economic recovery. You see, at first, when someone says, let's impose tariffs on foreign imports, it looks like they're doing the patriotic thing by protecting American products and jobs. And sometimes for a short while it works, but only for a short time. What eventually occurs is, first, homegrown industries start relying on government protection in the form of high tariffs. They stop competing and stop making the innovative management and technological changes they need to succeed in world markets. And then, while all this is going on, something even worse occurs. High tariffs inevitably lead to retaliation by foreign countries and the triggering of fierce trade wars. The result is more and more tariffs, higher and higher trade barriers, and less competition. So soon, because of the prices made artificially high by tariffs that subsidize inefficiency and poor management, people stop buying. Then the worst happens. Markets shrink and collapse, businesses and industries shut down, and millions of people lose their jobs. The memory of all this occurring back in the 30s made me determined when I came to Washington to spare the American people the protectionist legislation that destroys prosperity.
Trump was declining gross domestic product, high unemployment, declining retail data, and indicating a potential U.S. recession. Indicators of recession, he has imposed tariffs on people. All major U.S. trading partners. The misconception still goes on in the United States. Some of the people we thought they were knowledgeable, they are exposing their ignorance on tariffs. Let's define what is a tariff. A tariff is an import duty paid by a local importer who then passes it on. As I said in other videos, he can pass it partially, fully, or decide that he's going to eat his own margins by taking it in, and he takes a hit on his own profit. In most of the cases, businesses pass it over to the consumers. Another prominent Trump supporter, a guy by the name Ben Shapiro. Are you listening, Ben? He seems to be talking to a group of college students. He says, if you're Toyota and you don't want to pay tariffs, what do? Some of these kids, they say, we don't know. You just bring your manufacturing to United States. No. Ben, Toyota does not pay tariffs. Your grandmother, when she goes by her favorite Toyota Prius, she's the one who is going to pay the tariffs. Ben, if you are listening. We ask that you subscribe to this channel, like, comment, and share. Also, a decline in the stock market as the markets try to digest all this after the tariffs announcement. Right now there is a moratorium, but we are not yet out of the woods. The Standard & Poor's Nasdaq has spent some time in correction zone after it crashed 10%. According to OECD report, the annual real GDP is projected to slow down from a very strong pace of 2.2 to about 1.6 in 2026. Inflation, according to both CPI and PPI, Consumer Price Index and Producer Price Index, was showing a falling trend in February. But now it is expected to rise up to 4.9 by the end of this 2025. Let's look at the consumer spending. How are the consumers spending? A sharp drop in consumer spending as consumers exhibit a more cautious behavior in their shopping habits. Consumer spending is slowing down in the USA economy. US Business Index is an index that shows the business activities in the United States. US businesses are slowing down. The order book growth and the backlog growth have deepened, indicating a potential global weakness. All this is happening in March. The U.S. manufacturing sector is slowing down, as indicated by ISM Manufacturing, and the Purchasing Manager Index decreased to 50.3 back in February. We have lots of indicators that, and also there was a contraction in the U.S. economy by 0.3 at the end of the first quarter. If you have made it so far in this video, we ask that you subscribe to this channel, share, comment, and like. Subscription doesn't cost you anything. In February 2025, let's look at the economic indicators, the 2025 focus of the U.S. economy. Due to slower growth in manufacturing, in February there was a slower growth in manufacturing due to eased demand of goods. Gross domestic product, as I said before, in the first quarter dropped to 0.3. The first quarter of this year, the American economy shrunk by 0.3. This does not indicate a recession yet, because the rule of the thumb for the recession is 2 consecutive quarters of negative growth. It grew negatively 0.3. That means it contracted 0.3. The figures for the second quarter, which we are currently in, should be out in 2 weeks from now. The quarter ends after next week. As I'm recording this video, today is the 22nd of June. In about 10 days, because after the quarter is ended, they will need about another week and another week or so to put together the figures, and is to find out if there was growth in this quarter or the economy shrunk again. One aspect of the United States economy which I want to touch on is the travel. If you are in the travel industry in the United States right now, watching this video, please hold on to your bank account when you spend. This has nothing to do with the performance of the US, but this is typical business behavior as people are getting pissed off by this Trump. They're getting upset by this Trump tariffs. And also this harassment which is going on, this dehumanizing of people who are being deported from United States. People around the world, they are just holding off traveling to United States right now. They don't want to travel to United States. Let's look at the figures. Travel to United States, it declined from several areas. Travel to United States from Asia it has dropped by 25% as by the end of March. From Canada, it has dropped by 38%. From European Union, it has gone down by 20%. From the Caribbean, it has gone down by 26%. From South America, it has gone down by 11%. From Africa, it has gone down by 10%. If you are these baggage handlers, airport employees, or workers, travel from other countries to your country, to United States of America, it is going to plummet as we go in 2026. Travel to United States is going to keep on falling. If you are in this industry, hold on to your bank account. Don't spend. Don't buy things which you don't need. You don't know what tomorrow has for you. As Mr. Trump is waging war against, these countries are going to fight back. Every country on earth is going to fight back. Now, in closing, let's sum up. Trump's tariffs on imports. Many companies are now facing lower profits margin while holding off on the investments and the hiring. They try to figure out the future. And investors are worried about the cuts in government workforce and government spending. Trump's tariff trade wars on all American trading partners from EU to Canada, from South Asia, everybody was tariffed. And the falling gross domestic product, fall in growth rate, a rise in unemployment, declining consumer sentiment, consumer spending, plummeting retail data. And these are some of the elements which are going to point out to the US recession. How these factors play out in shaping the interest rate and the value of the dollar will, to a large extent, determine recessionary pressures in the US economy. Just to reiterate something, there is no country on earth in the history of this world which has grown its economy by tariffs. There is no country, and there will probably will never be a country. Mr. Trump's tariffs, this is a boomerang. It will come back to hurt. This is a bullet that is going to ricochet on an iron bar and coming back to hit the shooter. This is not good for America. Some of the Trump supporters seems to be cheering for these tariffs. Foreign governments, when they pay tariffs to America, no foreign government pays tariffs. Also on tariffs, as Mr. Trump imposes tariffs, foreign governments are going also to have counter tariffs on American products. This will slow down the American demand for American goods abroad. When the American goods abroad slows, that means back home productivity will go down. Unemployment will go up. A lot of things will go south, will go negative in the economy. This trade wars initiated by Donald Trump is not going to be good for anybody. This is going to be a boomerang on American economy. We thank you for watching. Please subscribe to this channel.